Podcast Network Asia.
Lost and running out of passion. Yan ang kwento ng ating letter sender na si Clarize. This is the 20th episode of the Major Podcast with Venus Ra. Thank you again to our major sponsor, MX3, and thank you to KMC and Pod Machine. Let's read our letter for today. Dear Ate V, itago mo na lang ako sa pangalang Clarize, a regular listener of the Major Podcast since Season 1. I love your episodes because they always leave me important lessons. This time, I thought of sharing my own story. I honestly don't know where to start this letter, Ate V. It's always been hard to put into words what I'm going through. All I know is that I feel lost right now. I'm a public school teacher for almost a decade now, but I've run out of passion. As a Christian, I know that everything I do must be for God's glory, but I just can't do it anymore. This really wasn't my dream. Pero if I leave this profession, ano bang gusto kong gawin? I want a breath of fresh air and live close to nature, Ate V. I want to rekindle my love for serving other people. Naisip ko, I can do outreach programs in remote places. Do you think that's where I should be, Ate V? And can you suggest some specific communities I can join? If I pursue this path, will it make me feel better? In this crisis that I go through, a lot of people are telling me to love myself first. Pero nahihirapan akong gawin yon because loving other people and doing something for them is my happiness. I was recently diagnosed with anxiety and depression. Please pray for me that I overcome this battle. Thank you for listening, Ate V. God bless your show. Sincerely, Clarize. Clarize, maraming salamat for sharing your story to us. Grabe yung kwento mo, and I really appreciate the effort to verbalize your emotions. It's hard to do that sometimes, you know? We all go through a season na parang we're lost and we're running out of passion. Totoo yon at nangyayari yon maraming beses sa maraming tao. Pero yung mga uncomfortable situation na katulad nito, Clarize, usually yun yung nagiging turning point ng buhay natin. When it seems like we've gone off track and we don't know what to do, it's actually an opportunity for redirection. And honestly, I really thank God that you are in this situation because you are rethinking, you are seeking God for passion, you're seeking God for purpose. And even if it's a difficult situation, Clarize, I still thank God that you are being allowed to be in this situation right now. It's also important to take time to process what you're going through. You are a teacher, sabi mo, Clarize, sa sulat mo, at nawawalan ka na ng passion. What are the factors that make you feel this way? The reason why I'm asking this is because in your current situation, may mga problema ka na, o baka may mga problema ka na baka pwedeng gawan ng paraan. Or maybe you are in an environment where people feel the same way. So minsan mas na-magnify yung difficult situation kapag yun din ang naririnig natin dun sa mga tao na nasa paligid natin. Sabi mo sa letter mo, you have this love and passion for acts of service. Alam mo ba, Clarize, the job that you are in right now and the teaching that you are doing to students, that in itself is already an act of service. It's a noble job and that must be very fulfilling. Pero yun nga, hindi ko alam kung anong klaseng environment yung ginagalawan mo, how stressful that might be on a daily basis. Elementary students ba yung tinuturuan mo or high school? Hindi ko alam, pero you might have reached a point where you are already very stressed para masabi mo tong mga nasabi mo ngayon. You said that you have been teaching for a decade now. So hindi ko alam yung in and out nun. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung pakiramdam nung araw-araw na pagtuturo. Pero this is a noble job that you are in. Try to find the purpose and the value of what you do, and maybe that could be enough reason to stay. I want to expound that a little bit, Clarice. What I mean by that is, a specific example could be, ano kaya yung buhay ng mga estudyante na meron ka? You can take a closer look at the kind of life or the kind of personality or even the personal life of your students. Take for example, 1 or 2 students. Anong klaseng buhay meron sila? And when you get to know them on a deeper level, then maybe you will find that purpose again of pouring your servant heart to these students. I'm part of an organization, Clarize, that reaches out to students, high school students and college students in different schools all over the Philippines. At alam mo kung ano yung na-discover namin, Clarice? There are a lot of students who are depressed. There are a lot of students who are going through difficult times. A lot of them have suicidal tendencies, and they are so thankful that there are ates and kuyas, like, volunteers in our organization that they can pour their hearts into. Kasi hindi lahat ng teachers, hindi lahat ng magulang ay nakikinig sa pinagdadaanan nila. So maybe this is something that you want to explore, and hopefully this can rekindle your desire to serve again and look at your environment as your mission field, or look at your school as the community where you can actually serve people. So that's just a thought that you might want to explore. But if you have already explored everything at sabi mo wala na talagang reason for you to stay, then that's okay also to pursue other career and to have a change of environment. But you have to be ready because the transition won't be easy. In your letter, you said na parang gusto mong mag-outreach programs sa remote places. I'm assuming that this is a humanitarian work that you want. When you mentioned that, alam mong unang pumasok sa isip ko, Clarice, there are a lot of communities in the Philippines that need passionate teachers. But even that, it also requires physical, emotional, and mental resilience. Hindi siya madali. I remember in one community that we are serving, sa akin as a community development worker, ang hirap, Clarice, na sometimes you are serving in a community but they don't see the value of what you do, or they don't think that there is a need for change, or sometimes kahit gaano ka passionate in wanting them to have a better life, sila mismo hindi nila nakikita yon, and that can sap out the passion that is in your heart. Pero if that's a desire that you want, then maybe you don't need to leave your teaching profession. Maybe you can bring your skills with you, and then the passion that you have, maybe this can be a place where you can see your skills, your passion, and your purpose meet. So that's also another thing that you might want to check out and explore. You've said in your letter that you were recently diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And I suggest, Clarice, that you address that problem first before you continue to do or decide on doing another major thing. Huwag ka munang pumasok sa isang major decision until your mental health has gotten better. Mahirap kasi when you are exposing yourself to a lot of pressure which might worsen your condition. Pray for redirection, pero hindi mo siya kailangang madaliin. Take your time. You don't have to be too drastic about it. Hayaan mo yung perfect time ni Lord ang mag-lead sa'yo dun sa kung saan ka talaga niya gusto na ilagay. You mentioned in your letter also that you feel that you are lost. Not to invalidate your emotions or what you feel, Clarice, but the words you use are powerful. what we manifest becomes who we are. Clarice, now that you are in Christ, you are not lost, but you are found. And you were set apart for a special purpose. Tandaan mo yan, Clarice. And please pray to the Lord to really help you see what that purpose is. Lastly, you mentioned that there are a lot of people telling you that you should love yourself first. I think, Clarice, both of us would agree that the Bible never tells us to love ourselves. It never mentioned that. In fact, what the Bible mentioned is to deny ourselves and take up our cross daily and follow Him. I like your answer there to your friends when you say that you can't do that because in serving others, that's where you find happiness. That's actually very biblical. That's denying yourself, that's taking up your cross, and that's following God in the heart of service. Kasi when we say we love ourselves first, that is looking at who we are and not looking at the outside perspective. So, mas nadadrag tayo nun sa selfishness at mas na-magnify nun yung situation at yung circumstances natin. So, I like your idea of serving others first. I'm not saying na wag mong isipin ang sarili mo. Hindi ko sinasabi yon. But what I'm trying to say is the Bible helps us to see the difficulties of other people as well. And that might be the antidote to selfishness. So again, Clarice, I am so happy that you are in the situation right now, not because you are having a difficulty, but because the Lord is allowing you to reassess your heart and to really allow you to serve Him in the way that He wants you to do. So my prayer is that you stay strong in your journey towards fulfilling your purpose, Clarice. Are you feeling lost and running out of passion? Here are 3 takeaways from today's episode. Number 1, reflect and explore. Take time to reflect on your values, interests, and aspirations. Ask yourself questions about what truly matters to you and what activities or pursuits bring you joy. This introspective process of self-exploration can help you reconnect with your authentic self. Number 2, set small, achievable goals. Break down your larger goals into smaller, more manageable tasks. When you're feeling lost, setting and achieving small goals can provide a sense of accomplishment and motivation. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small, and use them as building blocks toward larger aspirations. And number 3, seek support and guidance. Don't hesitate to reach out to your friends, family, or mentors for support and guidance. You may also consider seeking professional help, such as a counselor or life coach who can provide structured guidance and tools to help you navigate this period of uncertainty. Sometimes an outside perspective can shed light on new, exciting possibilities. Before we say goodbye, I'd like to say thank you again to our major sponsor, MX3. And I'd like to say hi to all the accountants and public servants that attended my talk in Bacolod City. Here's the snippet of that trip. And that's all for today's episode. Follow us on our social media accounts and share this podcast to your friends. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell notification below. Follow us on Spotify as well and leave us a rating. Muli ako po si Ate V, always here to listen and to think things through with you. Till the next episode of the Major Podcast with Venus Ra.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia. the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.